Hi there! Are you looking for advice or tips for your paint by numbers kit? Well, you're in the right place. My name is Naomi with GoPaintByNumbers.com, and in this video we are going to go over my top 10 tips and tricks for how to make your paint by numbers kit work for you. Let's get started. To start, the majority of paint by numbers kits contain acrylic paint. Now, it's usually best to wipe off your acrylic paint when it's still wet, and I suggest using lukewarm water for this. I think you'll see a real difference between using lukewarm and cool water when cleaning off your brushes. Also, be sure to clean off your brushes right away because wet paint is a lot easier to clean off than dry paint. Another tip is to paint going by size of number. Paint the smallest areas first. Then proceed to the medium regions and finally paint the most substantial areas. This trick will make your work faster and ensure that you don't get tired or discouraged. Tip number 3, paint all colors that have the same number at the same time. This is to avoid wasting time washing the paintbrush over and over again. Tip number 4, start at the top of the painting. This will help you avoid smudging the painting. As an additional tip, for right-handers, I suggest starting at the top left and making your way down to the bottom right, and vice versa for left-handers, just because it also helps you stay out of your wet paint a little bit better. Tip number 5, go get a toothpick. There are very tiny areas on some of these canvases, and sometimes the brushes might just be too big. So I suggest investing in a little box of toothpicks and using them as one-offs for when you find those really tiny areas. Tip number 6, remember that you can always add paint, but you can't take away paint once it's dried. So paint lightly. When applying your paint, remember that it should be heavy enough to cover the numbers, but not so heavy that it gets smudged into other areas. Number 7, location is everything. And I definitely recommend painting with natural lighting. Sunlight, if you can find it, is best. That way your painting will mostly look the same regardless of lighting situations after you hang it up. Tip number 8, get a magnifying glass. Sometimes it's easier to see what you're doing when it's just a little bit closer. Tip number 9, when you mix colors, start with just using a small amount of paint, so that if you mix in properly, you don't waste any. Do you need a darker shade? Just add a small amount of the darkest color. And finally, tip number 10, start with the eyes. If you are painting human or animal portraits, begin with the eyes. Even if this tip undermines some of the other tips that I've given you already, focusing on the eyes first will help you with the essential details. I hope some of these tips and suggestions will help you when you work on your next Go Paint by Numbers kit. As always, be sure to check out our website for more kits and be inspired by what other artists have done. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll see you next time.